and welcome back.
Delete it.
So this is going to be Act 1. Abby.
The hell happened to Wendy?
I don't know.
She did.
Abby didn't know what to do. Since her best friend was now an orphan, she convinced her parents to let Wendy stay with them until they graduated from high school. What?
Okay.
After that, she was going to move in with her aunt over the summer. Abby's main reasoning was that Wendy was going to need someone to lean on after such a horrible tragedy. Abby believed that she could be that person.
Could she?
But ever since Wendy moved in, she had started becoming withdrawn from the world around her. Also, quick note, we can't find the song for this one right now just because we had to switch the site because the other one crashed. So just letting you know. So if you guys just want to loop that first prologue song the entire time, go for it.
We could put a more fitting song.
Just put on the
let's put on a fitting song right now.
The Halloween theme? I don't know, I'm thinking the Pro Jared theme.
Oh! But ever since Wendy moved in, she had started becoming withdrawn from the world around her. Wendy hardly talked to anyone. She barely ate. She barely ate.
True haterhood.
And she often woke up screaming in the middle of the night. She always acted as if someone was following her, watching her. Yet she always wanted to be alone. Not to mention her appearance had become startling from lack of sleep and care. When Abby tried talking to her, Wendy just shut her out. Abby didn't want Wendy to deal with her pain alone, but what could she do? It wasn't like before, when the worst thing that could happen to her was a petty argument with her parents. Her parents. If only they were here. But if they were here, then Abby wouldn't be having this problem.
Yeah?
That's a weird thought.
Okay.
It was all his fault. Oh, how she hated them. Or him.
Whoa.
From the moment she laid eyes on him, she knew he was trouble. But Wendy couldn't see it. All she could see was someone she could try to save. Now it was her who needed saving. And he was still out there. ... Somewhere. A month after the murders, on a rainy evening,
Transition.
Abby lay in her bed. Across the room from her, Wendy lay in her own bed, scribbling furiously in a diary she had been keeping. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna move on.
It's alright.
When she finished, she placed it on her side of the bookshelf with her other belongings. Wendy then peeked out of her window and froze for a moment before closing the curtains. It was that cold outside. I'm just kidding. She looked over at Abby, who was starting to fall asleep.
Abby? Remember when we first met in middle school?
Yeah, why?
I was just thinking back on my life. How far I've come. I've been trying to write them all down. All the good memories I have to leave behind after I'm gone.
Whoa.
Abby sleepily propped herself up on one elbow to look at her.
Gone? Where are you going?
I'm going to Georgia.
Wendy didn't respond right away.
Nowhere. It was just a figure of speech.
Abby stared at her for a minute before collapsing, just like, back on her pillow.
Don't scare me like that.
They were both silent for a minute. Abby started drifting off to sleep again.
When we first met. Wow! I was the weird kid.
Wendy said, waking up Abby again.
I remember how nobody talked to me at first. I spent most of my elementary school alone because I wasn't into the same things as everyone other kid my age, like jeweling. Then one day, you spoke to me.
Yeah.
Hey, Abby, you like penis?
Yeah.
Abby slurred.
Trying to remember.
I told you I liked your dress. The one with the blue flowers on.
Yep, and now we're best friends ever since. And after that, more friends came.
What?
I never thanked you for that, for being my friend.
You didn't have to thank me. I liked you. I liked the fact that you were different. At least back then you were. High school normalized you, you know.
They both chuckled. Go
ahead.
It's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my best Kazakh's impression.
I became more normal, whatever that means. But I was still drawn to weird people.
Yeah.
Abby yawned.
That's my favorite song by The Doors.
This is gonna be a really weird sentence. Just get ready for this.
Oh, what the hell?
Just read.
What?
Just read it. You gotta read it.
Remember all those guys I dated?
Wendy laughed.
Steven, Drew, Gary. The guy who was obsessed with chins?
What?
Jeff, the homicidal psychopath.
Wendy was quiet for a moment. Abby sat up and looked at her.
I think this is me. Yeah, this is me. That was not quiet. Is that what she did?
I can't tell if who's talking now. It doesn't say.
It's Abby, I believe.
Are we sure?
Yeah,
I can't tell.
Because then the next line and the next line's Abby.
All right, let's keep going.
I'm sorry, but I can't help being a little mad at you for this. It's been a long enough time since the funerals for me to say that. I know you couldn't have known, but the worst part is that you've changed on me. This is the longest conversation we've had since 9/11.
You're right. I haven't been a good friend, and I'm sorry.
Abby, lay back down.
Abby, you get on that chair this instant.
You get on that table and you lay down.
I'm gonna start talking to you about the chins again.
Don't be sorry, I forgot about that golden heart of yours. You could never think ill of anyone, not even him.
You rapscallion.
Don't you talk about me golden heart, that wanted. He didn't seem dangerous at all while we were dating.
Wendy said in a quiet voice.
He was a bit distant and quiet, but I thought he genuinely loved.
Wendy looked up to see that Abby had drifted off to sleep.
Well, fuck you.
She got up. She got up and walked over to her friend's bed, crouching down in front of her. What? She tucked some stray hair behind her ear.
Thinking about when XXXTentacion crouched during his cipher. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you
That's the crouch she's doing.
Leaning down, she whispered in her ear.
Thanks for being my friend.
Yes.
Abby opened her heavy eyes. They're very heavy.
Yeah.
Long enough to see Wendy quietly walk out of the room.
Wendy!
Where you going?
She moaned. But sleep overtook her as her vision got blurry and then everything went black.
Is that how that works?
I don't think so.
You open your eyes, you say something, then you just...
The next morning, Abby woke up to find Wendy's bed empty. In fact, didn't even look slept in. How could you know? Abby sat up and tried to remember what happened the previous night. All that talk about looking back on her life and thanking her for being her friend. It almost seemed like she was saying goodbye. Abby searched the house, calling her friend's name, but she was nowhere to be found. First, she alerted her parents, then the police, and then the whole town.
And then she waited.
And then Jeff.
Some people... Have you seen Wendy? No, I haven't. First, she alerted her parents and the police and the whole town. Some people claimed to have seen her on the night she went missing. But no matter how many search parties were sent out, they're like 80. No matter how much the
600.
reward was, you needed money to motivate you to find a girl. No matter how many search parties went out, no matter how much the reward was for any information on her whereabouts, no matter how much Abby wished, Wendy remained missing. 2 months after her disappearance, Abby noticed that the police were starting to give up. After 2 months? Those are some dedicated police. I thought police give up after 3 days. They had no leads and no evidence of any
the
kind.
police system, Alex.
They began treating her as Runaway.
The song.
The song. because of her deep depression over the death of her parents. I remember you was conflicted. Misusing your Jeff. Never mind the fact that none of her clothes or other belongings were missing. They didn't even bother to look through them. Maybe she'd be in her clothes.
And
Surprise!
And also,
Why did you look in here?
I mean, this is a 2-month investigation.
They assured Abby and her parents Oh, I thought they assured Wendy's parents. I'm like, wait.
Whoa.
They assured Abby and her parents that Wendy would return when she was ready, or that she would eventually be found. Abby wasn't convinced, but she couldn't convince anyone else to listen to her. Her mother and father cared about Wendy very much, but they were tired and wanted to get on with their lives.
Jeez.
They put 2 lives just like out of the way. What?
I don't.
Also, that's the handler. So Abby had to find her friend on her own, standing next to the Fortnite person. Sorry.
Sad.
That's just bad energy.
All right,
But they wanted to get on with their life. So Abby had to find her friend on her own. That's not what you're supposed to do at that point. Whatever. But find out what happened to her. Abby decided... Oh, here we go. Abby decided to start with Wendy's computer. Her boyfriend, Tucker, was an expert hacker. Of course he was.
hacker.
He could hack into just about anything. Even the government's and like, the emails.
He was also in prison for life.
Yeah.
You'll be checking your email.
Tucker, real name, Edward Snowden. So when Abby asked if he could come over to try to break into her computer, he was almost insulted that she even asked if he could do it.
This guy sounds like a Chad.
I'm a tech Chad.
After they successfully hacked into her computer, they did a wide search. What does
Right?
that mean? Finding nothing suspicious, they
The
decided
hacking
to check
lingo,
her
Alex.
emails.
Don't you know the hacking lingo?
But even after hacking into it, there were no emails or messages of any sort to give them a clue.
Ugh,
Abby sat back in her chair, exasperated.
this is hopeless.
Don't give up yet, babe.
Tucker
Whoa.
said, getting up and massaging her neck.
I'm sure there's no need for any of this anyway. She'll come back.
Yeah, and when she does, I'm going to beat the living crap out of her.
Yes.
He whispered. He massaged her neck a little bit harder, causing her to moan softly.
I'm just imagining like fucking Gollum just like rubbing
Yeah, he
her
lost
neck.
the ring.
Tucker smiled.
Hey, I still have half an hour to go before we meet up with
Now you're
the
turning into
dolls.
Neville from Pirate Puppet Pals.
Jesus.
Oh no.
Your parents are out. Want to fool around a little?
It's not gonna go there. It's not gonna go there.
Abby leaned her head back to grin at him.
No.
No, it actually
Denied!
says.
I could use some comfort.
After he left, thank goodness,
Oh.
Abby straightened herself up and then continued to explore Wendy's computer. Looking at her search history, Abby wondered what was going through her friend's mind before she disappeared.
Tentacle porn?
There were searches about night terrors, sleep paralysis, and articles on other recent disappearances happening around town. Abby eventually found herself back in Wendy's email.
She had email drama alert.
She hadn't thought before, what is up?
She wants to get on drama alert. It's her dream.
She hadn't thought before to check the spam folder, so she clicked on it. Why? Your expert hacker friend didn't check the spam
It's a
folder?
good point.
Abby was shocked to find that there were hundreds of messages in the folder, all of them from an anonymous email address, all of them saying, like, want to hang out with me?
Yeah.
Abby clicked on an email.
New message for
which
you.
read,
One new message. Rewards deal.
Yeah, I'm coming for you. Abby was more than a little spooked.
It was from
She was-
Amazon.
she was normal spooked. She clicked on another one. Gonna get you, baby.
Home Depot?
Abby was frightened, but she clicked on another one, and another, and another,
And she waited.
and she waited.
One had a link. She opened the link.
We're gonna get copyright strike for that by Universal Music Group. The colder the chill creeping up her spine became as she read. Don't try to run. No one can save you from me. There's no escape. There's nowhere to hide.
All right.
Yeah. Then you'll be mine again. You better not tell anyone or they are next.
Why did it become like country?
This is your left. This is your left. This is your right.
You're gonna die. The message is dated all the way back to the day after her parents' funeral. Abby shook her head as hot tears ran down her cheeks and cold tears ran up them.
Lukewarm ones just stayed there.
So, she had been dealing with all this by herself for so long. No wonder she had changed so much and wouldn't let anyone in. Wait, is this trying to say that she wasn't depressed? She just had Jeff hanging out with her? Like, wait, what?
Oh dear. I hope. Ugh.
Abby composed herself and clicked on the very first message sent to Wendy. I want you, but we won't be separated for much longer. Jeff is coming.
What?
What? Abby's hand flew to her mouth. Just Jeff, of course. What?
Yeah, of course it was
Of
Jeff.
course it was Jeff. What are you talking
We
about?
already know.
There was no denying it now. Jeff had something to do with it. But first she needed more proof. Abby quickly wiped away her tears and began to look through all of Wendy's things.
They didn't do this earlier?
Oh, why? This is... But first she needed more proof.
In the 2 months investigation in The Hacker Friend, they did none of this.
Abby quickly wiped away her tears and began to look through all of Wendy's things.
Right.
She looked through her book bag, her side of the closet.
Of the closest.
Oh, sorry. Her side of the closest, yes. Under her bed, and her side of the bookshelf. She flipped through some of her notebooks. What she found were messages sloppily scrawled by her hand in the margins
Here, Eric,
of
do
almost
you wanna read
every
this?
page.
What's this whole segment?
Jeff is coming! Jeff is coming for me! There's no escape for me! It's all over! I can't run! I can't hide! He won't stop! He won't just stop! Unacceptable! I have to protect them! No one else needs to die! Jeff!
Who's coming? She tossed it onto Wendy's bed to give it to the police who are on Wendy's bed. and looked through her
going
other
on?
notebooks and textbooks, all the same. How could she have kept it inside all this time? Abby glanced at all the titles until her eyes rested on Wendy's journal, partially hidden underneath a world history textbook.
Thank you for the detail.
Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous.
Oh
Dear
my.
Abby, if you are reading this, stop right now. Oh, actually, this is probably something you should read. 'cause
Yeah,
this is
go ahead.
Wendy. Sorry.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Dear Abby.
Dear Abby,
Is this the column?
if you are reading
Yeah,
this...
It's Dear Abby.
Ooh. Stop right now. By now, I have probably disappeared, and I know you want answers, but it's too dangerous. Just forget about me and move on with your life. You're strong, stronger than I am.
You're not stupid, huh?
Whoa. But there is evil in this world that even you just can't fight. You just can't fight it. And there's nothing anyone can do about it.
Oh, that was nice. I like that one.
You'll definitely lose, so just put this down.
Whoa!
Whoa, my God.
In fact, fuck you.
You suck.
In fact, bury it or burn it. It doesn't matter now that I'm gone. I only kept it so that I could stay sane. I want to write down everything that
I wanted to
about my
write
life.
down.
I wanted to write
Down.
so that I wouldn't forget. I wanted to talk to you so badly, but that would have been sealing your doom, even though there's no way he would know I was talking to you.
And also, why didn't I take my stuff with me if I didn't want you to find it?
I won't make the same mistake twice. Goodbye, Abby. You're my very best friend, and I love you. Have a great life. Love, Wendy.
I'm glad they really built up their relationship in the one conversation we saw
Yeah.
them have.
Way to set up that friendship.
After a few moments of uncontrollable sobbing, Andy wondered why she left the journal behind if it
say
was so
Andy?
dangerers. I said Abby, right?
Okay.
Did I say Andy?
You might have said Andy.
Andy. Maybe.
Toy Story
she,
5.
maybe she didn't get the opportunity to get rid of it. Abby stared at the journal, conflicted about whether or not to continue reading. She decided to take the chance.
The rapper.
She flipped to the next page, but it was just an entry about her earliest memory. It went on like that for the first half of the journal, as if she were trying to write down every single memory of her life that she could remember.
Wow!
Even the memory of when they first met was there. Abby smiled as she tried to blink back tears.
Is this going to be like they use this to give
Then
the
it took a dark
exposition?
But then it took a dark turn.
Yep.
Wendy began to write about nightmares that she had been having. One about a pale-faced figure chasing her through the cornfields.
Wonder who that could be.
Like probably Slender Man.
Yeah.
Abby had heard about that
Eyeless
night.
Jack.
They're all coming back for this finale. Abby had heard about that night when Wendy was telling the police about her parents' murder. Parent is murder, sorry. She remembered feeling infuriated about the fact that her parents were dead. No. She remembered feeling infuriating about the fact that the police couldn't find the killer, even though he was just a teenage boy.
It's a good
How long has
point.
Jeff been a teenage boy?
Forever.
The entries continued. Apparently, Wendy sometimes couldn't sleep at night because she heard noises outside the window. Sometimes, when she thought she was alone, she would feel like someone was watching her.
And it was
But when
Abby.
she looked, no one was there. But there was someone there, as confirmed by the messages she was receiving. Well, that's not
necessary,
true.
yeah.
There was even a time when she actually saw him. It was a cold night, about a week before she disappeared. She had gotten up to close the window when she saw him. He was standing outside their window with his hood up. When is it not up? Head held down. When is it not down? Since the bedroom was on the second floor, he couldn't reach her. Still, he slowly lifted his head and locked eyes with her. Wendy gasped at the sight of his face, but she didn't turn away. They stayed like that for what seemed like hours.
He didn't get hungry. He didn't.
But when Abby shifted in bed, blissfully unaware of any danger, Wendy turned to make sure she was still asleep. When she turned back to the window, he was gone.
He won the staring contest.
That's you.
If she knew it was him, then why did she gasp when she saw his face?
Abby wondered aloud. That's like a Jethro Tull song, isn't it? Wondering aloud.
Something like that.
She sank down onto the bed. So he was here the whole time. Yet no one even knew?
Oh.
Of course not. Or else like, that wouldn't have been a revelation. No wonder Wendy felt so alone. Abby continued to flip through the journal, reading about many more mysterious things happening to her, and about Wendy's depression and loneliness. But it wasn't until she got to the back of the book that Abby shrieked and let the book
So
slip
none of the
from her
other
hands.
stuff got to you?
I don't care about my friend's depression,
Yeah.
but like...
Yeah.
Abby dropped to the floor and slowly... She dropped low, like, you know, like that floor, right?
He got on the floor.
Abby dropped to the floor
Open the door. No.
and slowly opened the book again, and Shawty got low. On the back cover of the journal was a sketch of Jeff, dated a week before Wendy
It's
disappeared.
Jeff Dunham.
Oh no!
I hate Jeff Dunham.
But this was no ordinary portrait. He still wore the Joker makeup.
Except now.
When did Jeff ever have the Joker makeup?
This is the new addition to the canon.
Like, did Jeff ever have Joker makeup?
They're thinking about like that picture of him.
Well, there's the picture of him, but he doesn't have Joker makeup. He has Jeff the Killer makeup.
Back over the journal with a
Jesus.
sketch of Jeff Foxworthy.
My name Jeff. His face was horribly mutilated.
know you're right.
When are they not mutilated? His eyelids, nose, and lips were all missing.
So he looked like a fish.
The only color in the picture was the area around his mouth where Wendy had scribbled in red ink. And underneath his picture, also written in red, was one last message. Jeff is here. Miley Cyrus's new EP. Coming August 7th. No. And that concludes Act 2.
Act 1.
Or that includes Act 1.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
We got more.
We've got three more acts
This
to go.
does not have the epilogue, by the way, as far as I know.
So we'll find
This
the
page?
epilogue after this?
Yeah.
Alright, so
Act 2.
Act 2 is about to start. The second episode's gonna end here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna grab Gatorade.
Hold on. Where are you going? Where are you going?